Hey guys, it's Pedro back with another video covering VCT Rostermania 2024-2025. This time it's day 2 and we're just gonna get right into it. You already know the introduction, you already know the gist of what I'm doing, so no need to kind of delay it any further. So first up, covering VCT China, it is BLG, Billy Gaming. Of course, BLG, the team that famously pulled off the double upset over NRG in Champions 2023 and kind of were hoping to do the same in 2024. Ultimately, they crashed out in the group stage, being one of the first teams to get out of said competition. And so, as a result of that showing, they made a few moves. And so, the first of its kind is Flexin. Flexin is departing from BLG at the end of the 2024 season, heading into 2025. And so, Flexin, he had a bit of an interesting year in 2024. For those of you who aren't familiar with his trajectory. He started off 2024 with Trace Esports and played with them in kickoff. After kickoff, he left, joined Tyloo for stage one. Tyloo wasn't able to crack playoffs in that time frame, and so after that, Tyloo made changes. He left Tyloo and joined BLG for stage two, and then also into champions. And with BLG, he was able to finally find success in 2024, helping the team qualify for the event and have a chance to have another crack at facing the world's best. As I said, didn't really work out, and so at the end of the season, he's gone. He's moving over to wherever else he goes, and so interesting choice. A player that has been able to work in different environments and contribute in the best way that he could. And so, Flexen gone, BLG moves on. Moving over to Pacific, we have T1, and they made a few of their moves as well. Some of which was done immediately after I finished the recording for the first day of Rostermania. So, taking a little bit of it one by one. Obviously, first one to go is Rossi. He kind of made it known already in a few tweets a few weeks ago after the season ended, in which he kind of alluded to him returning back to NA after or from Korea. And it wasn't until now in which yes, this kind of move was finally made official. And so Rossi joined T1 in 2024 after playing in Tier 1 or Tier 2 in North America for 2023. And it was a bit of a surprising move to kind of see him go from that to T1, but such is the way that it did. And he was able to find a little bit of success in T1 for this year, playing well enough to qualify for Master Shanghai and being in that atmosphere. Unfortunately, after Shanghai, the team wasn't able to kind of continue their promising form, kind of crashing out and being one of the first teams to get out of champions contention of 2024 in Pacific. And so the reports were made that T1 was beginning to phase out of their international lineup that they had this year and adopt a full-on Korean lineup for 2025. Another person that is gone is Saya Player. He's Saya Player, for those of you who aren't familiar with him, he joined T1 at the end of 2022, in which he was a part of the guard, and in that year, he was able to appear in an international event, specifically Masters Reykjavik 2022, as the surprising NA team. From there, joined T1, was able to qualify for Masters Tokyo, didn't qualify for Champions 2023, kind of rebound in the sense of making Masters Shanghai. But again, same as it was in 2023, the team couldn't kind of come in clutch at the end of a year. And so as a result, he's also gone. He'll be looking for a new team. Maybe he'll stay in Pacific, or maybe he'll go into North America for another shot. Who knows? But yeah, side player is also gone. In turn, T1 announced the arrivals of new people into the squad. The first one being Sylvan. Sylvan is a player. He will join the team for 2025. And for those of you who aren't really familiar with what Sylvan has been doing, he kind of had some history in professional Overwatch, playing in that game for a few years before making the trek to Valorant. I would say from the jump. He played in a few years in Tier 2 Korea Challengers, uh, standing out in a way in which he caught the attention of Genji to play for them in 2023. Genji, ultimately they finished just below the international slots, and so with Genji kind of not performing to their expectations, Sylvan had to go, and so Sylvan left, joined Talon Esports in China, competed a little bit of the Evolution series. I believe that's the name of it. You know, before the start of the 2024 VCT China season, the official season. So from that point on, in his time in top esports from late 2023 to like literally the first weeks of January 2024, he wasn't really in a team, and kind of had to wait a little while to join a tier one squad, and so that's what he did. He is mostly a controller player with a knack of being versatile as well, playing different roles at a moment's notice, and so that's the kind of player Team One is going to get. And Sylvan returning to tier one after playing with Genji in 2023, so interesting to see what he will do if he's going to be the same kind of player in tier 2023 for 2025. And so, yeah, interesting to see what he does next. Another person that most interested in seeing his stuff is Chonguk. Chonguk is a coach. He will be joining as a coach in T1 for 2025, and he obviously had his past history as well. He was a coach for Wolves Esports in VCT China, and for stage two, not the entire year. He joined in stage two at the late part of 2024. Ultimately, the team had a 2-2 record for that stage. It wasn't enough to kind of carry them towards a qualification for playoffs, due to the squad's poor start in stage one and also in kickoff. And so, uh, despite all of Chongguk's efforts, Wolves wasn't able to do much. But fortunately for him, that caught the attention of T1, and that helped him be a coach for this team. And so, Sylvan Chongguk joining T1. Interesting to see what they're cooking up over there, and what kind of players they're looking at to join them for this year. Heading on over to Talon Esports, we have two people departing simultaneously in an announcement that the org made, and which you can see right here. Them being Patty Fan and Boy Patty Fan. A famous name in the pro Valorant scene, or a memorable name at that. I definitely do remember him. He was a part of the Extense Esports squad that famously took down Envy to reach quarterfinals of Champions 2021, and even also at that match was able to give Gambit a run for their money. And so, yeah, and after that, Patty Fan had a pretty interesting career. You know, leaving Valorant at the end of the 2021 season, returning to Overwatch for 2022, playing in the Los Angeles Gladiator squad for that year. After 2022, he decided to make a jump back into Valorant for 2023. Played in Talon Esports because, of course, Talon, with type players and teammates that he's already well familiar with. Why would he not join them? And so that's what he did, and played with them for 2023. Talon didn't really do well in 2023, crashing out in the bottom standings for the Pacific League, and also in the LCQ. They weren't able to qualify for champions. So after that, though, uh, Patty Fan kind of took a step back, citing his kind of decline in passion for the game, and just him feeling essentially burnt out. And so that kind of put him in a position where basically made him inactive. And so as a result, he didn't really play at all in 2024, just mostly sitting on the bench throughout the entire way. And so another person that, like I said, saw their stint end with Talon is Boy. He was an analyst slash assistant coach for Frost, and yeah, with him being a part of the team, Talon saw definite improvement in 2024 compared to 2023, making champions 2024. Uh, and also identifying the likes of promising talent like Primi and Boy, and also before that, of course, he played in North America and kind of built his trade there before going over to Southeast Asia slash APAC slash Pacific to continue his career. And Boy's gone, Patty Fan's gone. Talon is going to be in a, I would say, different direction now. And so, yeah, interesting to see what Talon does next. Heading over to Boom Esports. Boom Esports. Goddamn, I still can't believe that I'm calling them a tier one team, but such is the case when Bleed Esports kind of didn't really do well in continuing their obligations. So, Boom made a few moves to bolster their squad and be at a better position than it was in 2024. And the first such move is seeing the parting of ways of Meow. Meow, of course, is the head coach of was the head coach of Boom for plenty of years. He was able to help the team qualify for Champions 2022 in Istanbul, Turkey, and obviously was there in the team's fight to getting into Ascension and also winning Ascension for 2023, 2024. Like I said, as you guys already know, also, Bloom wasn't able to win Ascension in 2024, but thanks to Bleed fucking up, uh, Boom found their ways into Tier 1. And so with that, with that arriving, it also comes the increase of pressure and expectations to do well, do much better than before, and be in the fight of retaining us their slot for the year after, for next season. And so Meow's gone. Interesting to see who's going to be the new head coach for Boom Esports. And so yeah. As for the other person on the left, Boom, it is ZSBW. ZSBW, of course, an Indonesian Valorant player that played in the Indonesian Tier 2 scene for a few years, even playing in Bigatron 1, winning a split in that year. After that, he joined Boom to continue fighting for a bit to make Tier 1. Fortunately for him, despite losing in the finals to Simplisa Gaming, he found that chance, but it was short lived, and he kind of got the heads up by the org that hey, you're no longer going to be in the team for next year, and such is the result. As you can see in the screen, he put up an LFT post, and yeah, duelist controller IGL. He's been able to show that those roles throughout his career was a duelist and an IGL in 2023. For Bigatron, kind of transition over to the controller position for 2024, and obviously that uh, kind of technically worked the wonders for Boom at the very end. And so a good player, a player that has been able to show off and show well in the teams that he's been a part of. And so yeah, it's SPW. Unfortunate that he's not going to get the chance to represent Boom in 2025, but hopefully he can bounce back in the future. And finally, moving over to the Americas League, we saw the official departure of crashies from the NRG squad, and so thus ends, I would say, officially, the end of the Optic Core in NRG and the story that they have built from 2021 up until 2024. When you look at crashies, you think of also the likes of Finesse, Victor, Marved, and yay, we saw piece by piece each of these members departing from that squad. Some moving to different teams, some returning to the core. In the form of going to NRG for 2024, and then we also saw that kind of experiment not work out, and then these set players parting ways and leaving the org. Of course, looking at Marv in 2024, and so with crashies uh, parting ways. Another interesting part that I kind of want to bring up when it comes to crashies parting ways is that ordinarily he has always been paired up with Victor in Pro Valor. Wherever one goes, the other went with them, and so Crashies and Victor saw it all. Was in T1 in the early parts of the Pro Valorant scene, then moved over to Envy in 2021, finishing in second in Masters Berlin, suffering that upset loss, like I said, to X10 in Champions 2021, then moved over to Optic, and then in 2022, best team in the world, one of the best teams in the world, winning Reykjavik, coming close in Champions 2022, and then continuing that into NRG 2023, finishing fourth in Tokyo, and then losing in upset fashion to BOG twice, and then moving over to 2024, despite having plenty of expectations by adding in Ethan and Demon One and seeing the return of Marv into the Optic Core, Energy never really got their foots off the ground, languishing out, famously losing 12-5, uh, famously losing the 12-5 lead to Cloud9 at the very last game of their VCT America season, 2024 season, uh, and thus being eliminated from champions contention. So a definite gradual decline, I would say, from those highs of Optic up until now. So hopefully Crashies can bounce back. I even remember talking to Crashies plenty of times throughout 2024. Always sad to see him go, but interesting to see where he will land given his pedigree and his experience and his high level form that he has showed throughout the years in Valorant. So Crashy's gone from NRG, end of an era, end of officially the Optic Core. And so yeah, to wrap it all up, we saw finally the news of 100 Thieves, seeing Bang go from them to Sentinels. 100 Thieves wasted no time to find a replacement, and that replacement is definitely going to be Xander. Obviously, Xander was a part of M80 for a few years, 2023, 2024, uh, competing in Ascension both times, and both times failing to make Tier 1. And so after 2024, it was where Xander was in talks of various organizations for that were looking for his services. Obviously, there was plenty of reports of maybe having like Sentinels assigned Xander for 2025. Obviously, that didn't pay out. They looked at Narrate and Bang as the replacements for Tens and Sassy. So, as I said, for the replacement of Bang, Xander's gonna be in. He's gonna be with the likes of Boostio, Asuna, Cryo, and EU. A very stacked roster, a roster that was able to do very well in 2024 except for like the latter start, the final part of it, but still, uh, winning stage one is no pushover. And you have a player like Xander, who in many ways played very well as a controller and one that caught plenty of attention, sort of in a similar way that John Cutie had as an IGL in the end of 2023. Xander is one that everybody kind of looked at as one of the players that will ultimately get a shot in Tier 1. And with this happening, now the sky is the limit for him, and I would say the sky is the limit for 100 Thieves. And so, with that, I would say the final roster is complete. 400 Thieves for 2025, and yeah, Xander, Cryo, Asuna, Boostio, and EU, and goddamn, that's a roster, I would say. And so yeah, uh, Xander 200 Thieves, official, with two teams kind of now officially finalizing their rosters. Now the eyes are on to who is next and who is going to be able to follow that up. Then again, although I did say two teams finalized, I forgot to mention one more, and that's Cloud9. And soon after the end of the stint of Vanity and Rooney, Cloud9 in the following they announced their 2025 roster, and it'll include the likes of Oxy, Zeppa, Moose, Rossi, and Vic. And Rossi was able to find a new home for 2025, and it's back in North America. And with that, he will be with the likes of a Cloud. He will be in a Cloud9 roster that is more than ready to finally take that next step and finally compete in an international land for the first time in around 3 years. And so, Rossi and Vic uh, will be joining the squad. As As for Vic, he is another one of the tier 2 darlings that stood out well in his role for the better part of 2 years, I would say. And coming into it, he was a part of Moist Shopify, uh, was looked at as one of the best teams in tier 2. Even was coming in close, he even came in close to qualifying for Ascension of Americas with that squad. Obviously, that didn't work out. They lost to the likes of TSM and M80. Being the last one, being the first one from the outside looking in. And yeah, despite all of that, Cloud9 saw value in him and picked him up for 2025. And yeah, uh, this is a team that hopefully will not have to make roster moves at the start of the year in 2025. But yeah, now they're already on their way to a boot camp in Korea. I would say having to try to improve and have plenty of reps in kind of in the same way that they did last year. And so yeah, Cloud9 roster finalized. As I said, Rossi, Oxy, Zeppa, Moose, Vic with Ian, with Imi as the coach and Googly as the assistant coach. And so yeah, plenty of moves happened, as I said in this video at the start and even also right now at the very end. That covers plenty of regions in Tier 1 Valorant. So that wraps up day 2 of Rostermania. This has been Pedro talking to you, yapping to you incessantly for almost half an hour. Hope to do this again the next day. And so, yeah, that said, see you guys in the next one.